This book does not travel through chance. It finds you when the moment is right. Within the secret knowing lies a quiet magic that reveals itself only to those it chooses. Let it work in silence, and when the shift begins to unfold, tell no one, for some miracles lose their power when spoken. The Secret Knowing. Introduction. You are standing at the threshold of understanding, a liminal space where thought transforms into reality. The secret knowing pulses within you, not as a distant concept, but as the very rhythm of your cellular existence. Each breath you take is an invitation to alignment, each thought a brushstroke on the canvas of potential. Understand this. Attraction is not a technique to be mastered, but a natural state to be remembered. You are not learning something new, but awakening something ancient. The universe does not respond to your desires. It responds to your vibration, the quiet, unwavering frequency of your inner truth. Resistance dissolves the moment you recognize that you are not separate from the creative intelligence that breathes life into all things. Your thoughts are not mere mental constructions, but living energies that shape landscapes both internal and external. When you truly know something, not hope, not wish, but know, the external world cannot help but reconfigure itself to match your inner landscape. This is not about controlling reality, but about understanding your intrinsic connection to it. You are not a passive recipient of experiences, but an active participant in creation. Your belief is a force more substantial than physical action, more potent than strategized effort. The law of attraction is not a spiritual strategy, but a fundamental principle of existence. Just as water finds its level and light travels its path, your consciousness naturally gravitates toward its most persistent vibration. What you consistently feel, you inevitably reveal. Your journey is an unfolding, not of acquiring, but of revealing. You are removing the veils that obscure your innate understanding, allowing the luminous truth of your being to radiate without constraint. Before we get into the book, comment, "I am ready," to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Awakening Within. Chapter 1. The Remembering Light. You stand at the threshold of understanding, where ordinary moments become extraordinary revelations. The universe whispers its secrets through the simplest of experiences, waiting for you to listen. Clara May Henderson's lamp in the attic is more than a mere object. It is a metaphor for your own inner potential. When she approached the dusty fixture with intention, something magical occurred. The lamp responded not just to her physical touch, but to her shifted consciousness. This is the first profound lesson. Your external world transforms the moment your internal landscape changes. Imagine your awareness as a gentle light, capable of illuminating the darkest corners of experience. Your thoughts are not passive observers, but active creators. They ripple through the invisible fabric of reality, touching everything around you with their unique frequency. Consider Edwin Cole, the shoemaker whose insights reveal a deeper truth. His discoveries demonstrate that your inner state is not confined within you. It radiates outward, touching everyone and everything you encounter. When he moved from complaint to gratitude, the very atmosphere of his shop shifted. Customers responded not to his words, but to the energy he emanated. These stories are not mere anecdotes. They are mirrors reflecting your own untapped potential. You possess an extraordinary capacity to shape your environment through the quality of your attention. Your thoughts are not weak whispers, but powerful transmissions that reorganize the energy around you. The universal principle at work here is simple yet profound. Awareness transforms. When you choose to focus on light, on possibility, on gratitude, you do not simply hope for change, you invoke it. Your consciousness is a creative force, more powerful than any external circumstance. Tonight's practice. Sit still for 3 breaths and picture one thing soft and luminous within you, a small lamp that neither flickers nor fades. Feel it brighten as if responding to your own notice, and walk into sleep believing that light listens. Chapter 2. The River Answers. Thought. Your journey through understanding the law of attraction unfolds like water moving across stone, sometimes rushing, sometimes quiet, but always in motion. Hazel Ruth Morgan's experience by the river reveals a fundamental truth that echoes through the chambers of universal wisdom. As she stood beside the flowing water, her initial frustration became a gateway to understanding. The act of throwing the pebble was more than a physical gesture. It was a metaphorical transmission of her inner state. Each ripple that spread across the water's surface carried the essence of her emotional landscape. You might recognize this moment. How often have you sent wishes into the world, expecting immediate answers, only to be met with silence? The river teaches a different lesson. Your intentions are not commands to be obeyed, but vibrations that dance through the invisible fabric of existence. The law of attraction operates on a frequency far more nuanced than simple desire. It responds not to the words you speak, but to the emotional current beneath those words. Your feelings are the true language of creation. When you broadcast frustration, the universe responds with circumstances that mirror that frustration. When you radiate peace, the world begins to harmonize with your inner melody. Forrest Dean. Taylor's experience illuminates this principle with childlike simplicity. His laughter while skipping stones wasn't a technique, but a genuine expression of joy. And in that pure expression, he discovered something profound. The universe does not just listen, it reflects. Synchronicity is not magic, it is alignment. When you settle into a state of genuine delight, life begins to move with you. Friends appear, opportunities emerge, and needs are met with a grace that feels almost miraculous. But this is not miracle. It is the natural flow of energy when you are in harmony with your true self. Your internal state is a broadcasting station, continuously sending signals into the world. Peace does not fight against chaos. It simply exists, transforming everything it touches. Impatience calls forth its own complications, while tranquility opens pathways of unexpected grace. Practice. Close your eyes sometime today and imagine dropping a clear light pebble into calm water. Let its ripples expand without hurry, and feel each expansion as permission to release control. Whisper softly to yourself that creation prefers playfulness. Chapter 3. The Key Beneath the Mat. The universe whispers its most profound teachings in moments of surrender. Maggie Lou Carter's experience with the misplaced key reveals a truth that echoes through the chambers of spiritual understanding. Your greatest discoveries often arrive when you cease the frantic search. Imagine yourself in Maggie's moment of stillness. The exhaustion of searching had stripped away her desperate energy, creating a sacred space of receptivity. In that quiet pause, what was always present revealed itself. Your life operates on similar principles. The things you seek are often already within reach, waiting for you to stop chasing and start receiving. The law of attraction is not a battle to be won, but a dance to be experienced. When you release the grip of intense pursuit, you create space for grace to enter. Your desires do not require aggressive manipulation. They require a clear, calm invitation. Consider Walter Dean Bishop's journey. He had spent countless days chasing opportunities with a desperation that only pushed them further away. Opportunities are living energies that respond to your internal state. When he finally chose rest, a profound act of trust, the very thing he had been demanding suddenly appeared. This is the paradox of manifestation. Your most powerful moments of creation occur not through force, but through a gentle allowing. Think of yourself as a vessel, not a warrior. When you unclench your mental grip, you open channels for unexpected blessings to flow. The universe responds to your vibrational frequency, not your desperate actions. Your inner state is a broadcasting station, continuously sending signals into the world. Struggle creates resistance. Stillness creates alignment. Peace does not fight against chaos. It simply exists, transforming everything it touches. Understand that your desires are not distant prizes to be won, but natural extensions of your true self waiting to be recognized. The key to manifestation lies in your ability to trust, to know that what is meant for you cannot miss you. Practice. Before sleep, imagine placing your desires gently beneath the welcoming mat of your heart. Tell yourself that tomorrow's key will greet you when you forget to panic. Then, rest as if you already live inside the home of fulfillment. Chapter 4. The Cup That Never Empties. The rhythms of abundance dance through your life, often hidden in the simplest moments of trust and release. You have been taught to grasp, to hoard, to fear, but the universe whispers a different language, one of endless flow and effortless provision. Doris Lee. Jenkins understood this secret through her morning tea ritual. Each day she would set her porcelain pot on the table, her hands trembling with anxiety about whether the brew would stretch to fill every cup. Her friends would gather, and her mind would race. What if there isn't enough? What if someone goes without? But on this particular morning, something shifted. As she poured, she noticed her movements became lighter, her breath more even. Instead of calculating and measuring, she simply trusted. And something miraculous occurred. The tea seemed to expand, filling each delicate cup with a liquid that appeared bottomless. Her friends remarked on the richness of the brew, unaware that the true transformation was happening within Doris herself. Her fear of scarcity had dissolved, replaced by a quiet knowing that life provides when you stop resisting its natural generosity. In the same town, Franklin Earl Powell, a baker with weathered hands and a gentle spirit, lived a parallel revelation. On a morning when his bakery had its last loaf, a humble, crusty bread that represented his day's final offering, a weary traveler approached, hunger etched into his eyes. Where once Franklin might have calculated his losses, today he chose abundance. He gave the entire loaf, releasing it with a smile that carried more nourishment than the bread itself. His act was not about sacrifice, but about believing in the continuous cycle of giving and receiving. Hours later, a woman arrived at his bakery. Her basket overflowed with fresh ingredients, flour ground that morning, eggs from her own chickens, honey harvested from local hives. A note accompanied her gift. For those who feed others are never truly empty. Franklin understood then that generosity is not subtraction but multiplication. When you give from a place of trust, the universe responds with a symphony of unexpected abundance. Hold a cup in your hands and see it as your life's vessel. Whisper silently that it refills the moment you release a drop. Drink with reverence and feel generosity shimmer through your chest. Chapter 5. The Garden That Listens. You understand that every whisper carries weight, every utterance a subtle energy that shapes the landscape of your experience. Lucy Ann Porter's garden revealed this truth with gentle persistence, teaching you that the soil of manifestation is nourished not by physical labor alone, but by the invisible irrigation of your inner dialogue. Lucy had planted violet seeds with hopeful hands, yet her words repeatedly betrayed a deeper narrative of doubt. "Nothing grows here," she would mutter, looking at the seemingly barren ground. "This soil is too hard, too poor." Each complaint was a subtle spell cast against her own intention, creating an energetic barrier that kept potential buried and unseen. Then came her awakening. She recognized that her words were not mere sounds, but frequencies that informed the very matter around her. Every utterance of limitation was a command to the universe, instructing it to maintain scarcity. When she shifted her language, speaking to the earth with reverence and expectation, something remarkable occurred. Her words became water, her belief a nourishing light. The violets, sensing this transformed energy, began to emerge, first as tender green shoots, then as delicate purple blooms that seemed to dance with quiet triumph. In a nearby town, Archie Glenn Cooper embodied this principle in his flower shop. Unlike other gardeners who saw plants as objects, Archie conversed with his roses as living companions. "Good morning, beautiful ones," he would say, his voice a caress. "Thank you for your courage in blooming." His flowers responded not just with color, but with a vibrancy that drew people from miles around. While neighboring gardens struggled, Archie's shop burst with colors so vivid they seemed to pulse with an inner life. His secret was simple. He understood that appreciation is a form of magic, a frequency that coaxes dormant potential into full expression. You are learning that manifestation is less about forcing and more about listening, less about demanding and more about loving. Your intentions are seeds, your beliefs the soil, your words the water and sunlight. Practice. Walk outside, even briefly, and greet a living thing, a plant, a bird, even a breeze, with silent gratitude. Know that it answers in kind, unseen but palpable. Chapter 6. The Mirror Between Worlds. The light of recognition dances differently when you choose to see yourself without the shadows of past judgment. You are not merely observing a reflection, but witnessing the emergence of your truest self, a being of infinite potential, waiting to be acknowledged. Lillian Grace Abbott had spent years avoiding mirrors, their surfaces holding what she believed were uncomfortable truths about her worth. Each glance was a confrontation with perceived flaws, a silent argument with her own image. But something shifted when she learned that mirrors do not judge. They simply reflect what stands before them. One morning, instead of turning away, Lillian stood before her bedroom mirror and smiled. Not the forced, performative smile of social obligation, but a genuine expression of emerging self-acceptance. Her eyes softened, the lines around them becoming pathways of wisdom rather than markers of age or strain. Gradually, something extraordinary began to unfold. The strangers she encountered in coffee shops on street corners during brief interactions started offering unexpected compliments. A barista remarked on her radiant energy. An elderly woman praised the kindness in her smile. A colleague noted her newfound confidence. The external world was simply mirroring her internal transformation. When you release the grip of self-criticism, the universe conspires to reflect back your restored dignity. Raymond Clyde Lewis understood this principle through a different lens. While polishing his car's window, he noticed how each careful wipe revealed not just a clearer surface, but a more distinct reflection of himself. The smudges and marks were not imperfections to be ashamed of, but layers waiting to be understood and gently cleared. His revelation was profound. External clarity is a direct manifestation of internal peace. The world does not need aggressive scrubbing, but compassionate understanding. By focusing on inner transparency, the outer landscape naturally aligns and shines. This is the essence of true attraction, not manipulation or force, but a gentle alignment of inner conviction with outer experience. Your perception creates the landscape through which you travel, and when that perception is kind, the journey transforms. Look at your reflection tonight and say nothing. Just breathe kindly until warmth replaces critique. Notice the gleam changing both glass and gaze at once. Chapter 7. The Clock That Waited. In the vast landscape of life's rhythms, you are not bound by the rigid ticking of mechanical time, but guided by the fluid intelligence of universal flow. Pearl June Farmer's story whispers an ancient truth. Your relationship with time is not a battle, but a dance of consciousness. Pearl lived most of her days imprisoned by the relentless march of minutes, her wrist weighted by a silver watch that seemed to mock her every delayed dream. She would count seconds like prisoners count bars, lamenting opportunities that slipped past while she remained seemingly stuck. Her complaints became a constant soundtrack. Too late, too slow, not enough time. Each utterance a chain further restricting her potential. Then came the unexpected moment. Her watch, that precise instrument of measured moments, simply stopped. No dramatic shattering, no violent breakdown, just a quiet cessation of movement. In that stillness, something remarkable happened. Where anxiety once churned, a profound calm settled. With the watch's hands frozen, Pearl discovered an extraordinary truth. Time is not an external force constraining you, but an internal rhythm responding to your state of being. Her days began weaving unexpected connections. Opportunities that once seemed elusive now arrived with gentle ease. Phone calls came from long-lost friends. Chance encounters sparked meaningful conversations, and projects she had abandoned suddenly found momentum. The universe, it seemed, was not bound by her previous perception of linear progression. It moved in synchronistic waves, adjusting its currents to match her newfound inner tranquility. Across distant waters, a similar lesson unfolded for Virgil Howard Grant. A seasoned sailor accustomed to navigating precise routes, he found himself unexpectedly becalmed, his vessel motionless in an endless, silent seascape. His initial reaction was pure frustration, pushing against the stillness with increasingly desperate attempts to create movement. But as exhaustion replaced effort, Virgil surrendered. He stopped fighting the immobility and instead breathed into the moment. And then, almost imperceptibly, a soft breeze began to caress his sails. The wind, which had seemingly abandoned him, returned, not as a forceful gust, but as a gentle invitation. Both stories reveal a profound universal principle. When you release resistance, life's natural rhythms realign. Your impatience creates friction. Your acceptance creates flow. The interpretation is clear. Time is not your adversary, but your collaborative partner. It expands and contracts in response to your inner state, matching your consciousness with remarkable precision. To integrate this wisdom, sit quietly for 60 slow breaths and imagine time expanding effortlessly around you, like a friend who lingers for tea. Trust that no moment is late. Chapter 8. The Feather in the Storm. You are witnessing the delicate dance between resistance and surrender, a rhythm as ancient as consciousness itself. When life arrives with storms that threaten to bend your spirit, remember the feather, that ethereal messenger of resilience. Cora Nell Franklin had spent decades battling life's uncertainties with a warrior's rigidity. Her hands were perpetually clenched, her jaw perpetually tight, as if tension could ward off unexpected challenges. But on one rain-soaked afternoon, a single white feather drifted through the tempest, untouched by the turbulence surrounding it. The feather moved not with force, but with an elegant surrender. It did not fight the wind, it participated with it. Each droplet slid across its surface, yet the feather remained pristine, unbroken. In that moment, Cora understood that resistance multiplies friction, while acceptance transforms struggle into a gentle choreography. Her revelation was not about passive acceptance, but about a dynamic form of yielding, a sacred art of moving with life's currents rather than against them. Resistance, she realized, was like trying to halt a river with bare hands. Surrender was learning to flow. The universe echoes this wisdom through countless stories. Take Elroy James Baxter, who lost his employment, a moment that might crush many spirits. Instead of descending into bitterness, he chose laughter. His joy was not a denial of his circumstances, but a radical trust in life's underlying generosity. Within mere days, an opportunity emerged, not just a replacement job, but a path aligned with his most secret aspirations. His serenity had not been a weakness, but a powerful invitation to creative redirection. These stories are not mere coincidences. They are demonstrations of a profound spiritual principle. Your internal state broadcasts invitations to the universe. When you soften your grip, life can finally move through you with grace. Practice. Picture yourself as that feather, weightless in experience, landing only where you belong. Whisper, "I float toward better." Chapter 9. The Candle and the Wind. You stand at the threshold of understanding, where protection often masquerades as limitation. Nora Bell Shaw's story whispers an ancient truth. Your most guarded self is also your most dimmed self. Like a candle shrouded from air, your potential suffocates when fear becomes its container. In her small cottage, Nora had surrounded her dreams with layers of hesitation. She believed safety meant shielding her innermost aspirations from potential winds of criticism or failure. Her candle, a metaphor for her deepest intentions, remained unlit, protected yet powerless. One evening, something shifted. As she unconsciously moved to shield her tiny flame from a gentle breeze, she realized her very act of protection prevented the light from spreading. The draft wasn't an enemy, but a necessary element of illumination. Breath and movement were essential for transformation. This revelation was not merely about a candle, but about the universal principle of vulnerability. Your truest manifestations require exposure, just as a flame requires oxygen to breathe and expand. When you guard your dreams too tightly, you extinguish their very potential. Later that season, Milton George Ellis embodied this principle in his own journey. For years he had whispered his dream of opening a guitar shop to himself, afraid of public judgment. Fear had become his silent companion, muffling his true calling. Then came the moment of courageous revelation. Milton spoke his dream aloud in the local community center, his voice trembling but authentic. Instead of ridicule, something miraculous occurred. Friends, fellow musicians, and even strangers offered support. Financial advice, vintage instruments, connections. His vulnerability became a beacon, attracting exactly what his guarded heart had previously repelled. The universe responds not to silent wishes, but to expressed intentions spoken with genuine passion. The teaching crystallizes. Your dreams require breath to become real. Like a flame dancing with the wind, your aspirations grow stronger when you allow them space to move, to flicker, to potentially transform. Vulnerability is not weakness, but the most powerful form of strength. It is the willingness to be seen, to risk, to trust that your inner light can withstand any draft. Practice. Light a small flame, or imagine one in your mind. Feel the air move and see the flame steadier with each exhale of courage. Chapter 10. The Bridge of Quiet. You stand at the threshold of understanding, where decisions are not battles but conversations with the unseen currents of life. Alma Rose Clayton's journey unveils a truth that trembles beneath the surface of everyday experience. Trust is the silent architect of transformation. In the soft light of twilight, Alma once wandered near an ancient bridge, her mind a turbulent landscape of doubts and hesitations. The bridge's stone arches caught her attention, each curve a testament to balance, each span a whisper of mathematical precision. Beneath the bridge, water moved with quiet certainty, revealing something profound about decision-making. The bridge did not fight the river. It did not struggle against the wind or resist the weight of crossing. Instead, it trusted its own design, allowing forces to move around and through it. In that moment, Alma understood that her own life could flow with similar grace. Her revelations echoed the deeper principle of the law of attraction. Alignment happens not through force, but through understanding. Each arch of the bridge represented a moment of surrender, a point where resistance transforms into acceptance. Nearby, Carol Dean Whitman discovered a similar wisdom. A designer by trade, he found that his most inspired blueprints emerged not from grinding effort, but from moments of absolute stillness. When he sat by wooden bridges watching water trace its ancient paths, ideas would drift to him like migrating birds, effortless, precise, unexpected. Your decisions, like these bridges, can become conduits of possibility. They need not be walls of resistance, but passages of intelligent connection. The universe supports structures built on trust, not tension. When you release the grip of constant control, you allow intuition to engineer your path. The bridge teaches that stability is not about rigidity, but about flexible strength. Your inner landscape can mirror this, adapting, responding, supporting passage without struggle. In the quiet spaces between thoughts, opportunity takes shape. In the stillness beneath your anxious planning, wisdom constructs its elegant design. Practice. Spend 1 minute today observing stillness, no repair, no fixing, until judgment drifts away and intuition walks calmly across. Part 2. The Alchemy of Thought. Chapter 11. The Paintbrush of Feeling. You stand before the blank canvas of possibility, where every brushstroke carries the weight of inner vibration. Evelyn Ray Brooks understood this secret long before her hands touched paintbrush to canvas. Her initial paintings were shadows, muted landscapes that reflected her own self-doubt, each sunset trapped behind a veil of uncertainty. The transformation began when she realized that art, like life, is not about technical skill, but emotional resonance. Each time she approached her easel carrying gratitude instead of criticism, something miraculous occurred. Colors became more luminous. Brushstrokes danced with unexpected freedom. The light in her paintings shifted from flat to radiant, as if her internal state was the true pigment. This is the profound teaching of creation. Your feeling is the primary color, your emotion the fundamental medium through which reality takes shape. When Evelyn stopped judging her talent and started celebrating her capacity to express, her art became a living transmission of joy. Nearby, Henry Louis Palmer discovered a similar principle in the world of commerce. A businessman whose success seemed dependent on strategy, he found that his morning disposition affected negotiations more powerfully than any prepared speech. By whistling melodies of joy at dawn before his first meeting, he noticed a remarkable shift. Clients responded not to his words, but to the energy preceding them. His discovery illuminated a universal truth. Feeling precedes form. Your internal state broadcasts louder than any external performance. The universe listens not to your carefully constructed plans, but to the frequency of your heart. Imagine your emotions as pure color, vibrant, alive, transformative. Each breath becomes an opportunity to blend your inner palette, to paint your day with intention and luminosity. Your mood is not a passive experience, but an active creation, a continuous artwork you're composing moment by moment. Practice. Imagine each breath blending with a hue of your choice and coloring your day in bliss. Keep breathing your masterpiece alive. Chapter 12. The Hidden Music. In the quiet spaces between work and wonder, you discover that your inner rhythm shapes the world around you more profoundly than any conscious effort. Mabel Jean Foster understood this truth through the simple act of humming, a melody that transformed empty halls into living landscapes of connection. Each day, as she swept corridors and polished floors, Mabel's initial hums were soft and tentative, They began as whispers of comfort to herself, barely audible above the swish of her broom. But something magical happened when she allowed her heart to resonate with the sound. The halls seemed to listen, the very walls absorbing her gentle tune. Children began to appear, drawn by the unexpected music. They would pause in doorways, eyes wide with curiosity, watching Mabel move through the space. Her humming was not a performance but a conversation, a language of vibration that spoke directly to the unseen currents of life. The universe responds to feeling more than sound, more than words. Your internal melody creates invisible bridges, connecting you to experiences and beings that harmonize with your true frequency. Mabel's simple humming was an invitation, a vibrational signal that called forth companionship and joy. Nearby, Norman Clyde Patterson understood a similar principle through his craft of tuning pianos. Where others might rush or force an instrument into alignment, Norman approached with patience and reverence. He listened deeply, allowing each piano to reveal its natural resonance. His hands moved slowly, adjusting strings with a gentle touch that respected the instrument's inherent music. He knew that true harmony cannot be imposed. It must be coaxed, understood, allowed. Just as a piano maintains its tune when treated with care, so too do human hearts align when approached with calm and understanding. The lesson whispers through both Mabel and Norman's experiences. Your internal state creates external reality. The vibration you generate, whether through humming, working, or simply being, attracts experiences that mirror your fundamental tone. When you approach life with gentleness, with an open heart that hums its own unique melody, you become a magnet for experiences that resonate with that same quality. Struggle dissolves, synchronicity emerges. The world begins to play alongside your inner music. Practice as instructed. Hum quietly tonight until you feel the sound vibrate your chest like welcoming applause from life itself. Chapter 13. The Whispering Lantern. In the tapestry of life's unfolding mysteries, you are a traveler guided by whispers of possibility. Each step carries the potential of hidden music, a melody waiting to be heard when you quiet the noise of doubt. Addie Sue Phillips wandered city streets like a wandering note searching for its chord, her inner rhythm muted by uncertainty. Her footsteps echoed with questions of purpose, each step feeling disconnected from any grand design. But the universe listens differently. It responds not to loud proclamations, but to quiet trust. On an ordinary evening, as twilight painted the urban landscape in soft grays, a small lantern flickered near her feet. Not by chance, but by a precision that transcends coincidence. Its gentle light seemed to pulse with an invitation, a subtle guidance rising from the very ground beneath her. In that moment, something within Addie Sue shifted. Her fear, which had been a constant companion, cooled like evening mist. The lantern's soft glow suggested that direction arrives not through grand revelations, but through small, humble signals. Faith illuminates not by showing the entire road, but by casting light on the very next step. Later that week, Rufus Glenn Barrett understood this principle intimately. Where others saw a single modest opportunity, he recognized it as a seed. He trusted that small beginning, nurturing it with belief rather than drowning it in skepticism. And just as a single seed can transform into a forest, His trust multiplied that opportunity into many. The teaching whispers an eternal truth. Belief is the first spark that invites more light. Like a match struck in darkness, it doesn't illuminate everything at once, but creates a pathway for further illumination. Your journey is not about seeing the entire map, but about trusting the compass within. Each moment of quiet conviction is a note in the hidden music of creation, resonating beyond what eyes can see or ears can hear. Practice. Close your eyes and sense a lantern above your heart casting one soft ray forward. Step inwardly and let that be enough. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Seed of Thought. In the quiet corners of your life, miracles wait like seeds in forgotten packets. You might walk past them daily, hoping for grand transformations while overlooking the small, powerful beginnings already within reach. Opal June. Chandler understood this truth through her garden. For years, she dreamed of lush landscapes and bountiful harvests. Yet her yard remained barren, not from lack of potential, but from a hesitation to begin. One packet of seeds sat untouched, a silent promise waiting for her touch. The day she finally pressed those seeds into earth was not marked by ceremony or grand intention. Her fingers, weathered from waiting, trembled slightly as they broke the soil's surface. She did not know then that this simple act would become her miracle. Where she stood, precisely where doubt had kept her rooted, green shoots emerged. Tender and persistent, they pushed through soil, answering her long-held wish with quiet certainty. The garden did not arrive from distant lands or magical interventions, but from the exact ground beneath her feet. This is the sacred dance of creation. Intention needs embodiment. Your thoughts are seeds, yes, but feelings are the water that coax life forward. Waiting changes nothing. Touching changes everything. Consider Wilbur Joe Duncan, a man whose writing dreams had calcified into elaborate fantasies of perfection. He imagined books and acclaim, yet years passed with blank chapters his only companions. Then, one ordinary evening, something shifted. He scribbled not for publication, not for praise, but simply for the joy of making marks on paper. That first unimportant page became a river. Words flowed not from strategy, but from playful surrender. The universe does not demand grand plans, but responds to genuine movement. Your first gesture, however small, creates ripples far beyond what logic can predict. These stories whisper a universal truth. Creation awakens through participation, not contemplation. Your dreams do not require heroic leaps, but gentle, consistent steps. Each seed planted, each word written, each moment of genuine play is an invitation to abundance. Practice. Write or plant something unimportant today merely to delight creation, and secretly watch abundance echo that tone. Chapter 15. The Cloud Speaks Kindly. You are standing at the threshold of transformation, where every breath can be a seed of creation, every thought a potential garden. The story of Irene May Roberts whispers an ancient truth that echoes through the chambers of universal wisdom. Your perception is the alchemy that turns ordinary moments into extraordinary experiences. Imagine Irene standing by her window, watching rain cascade against the glass. Once, she would have seen only inconvenience, wet soil, delayed plans, dreary skies. But on this particular day, something shifted within her. As droplets traced intricate patterns on the window pane, she felt a sudden surge of gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered to the rain, "for nourishing my roses." In that moment of pure acceptance, something miraculous occurred. The gray sky seemed to soften, the rain's rhythm became a gentle melody, and her garden, once a source of frustration, transformed into a vibrant canvas of possibility. Her roses, drinking deeply from the unexpected blessing, seemed to shimmer with renewed vitality. This is the essence of true manifestation. Gratitude is not a passive state, but an active force that reshapes reality. When you thank what you once resisted, you unlock a profound spiritual mechanism. The universe does not understand the language of complaint, but it resonates perfectly with the frequency of appreciation. Consider Oscar Lee Turner, a farmer whose relationship with nature transcended ordinary understanding. While others saw storms as threats, Oscar saw them as partners in creation. During harvest season, when hail threatened to destroy crops, he would whistle, a melody of trust and joy that seemed to weave a protective energy around his fields. His neighbors watched in wonder as violent storms passed, leaving his crops untouched. Oscar understood a deeper truth. Your inner state creates a vibrational shield more powerful than any physical barrier. Appreciation doesn't just change how you see the world, it changes the world itself. The law of attraction operates on this fundamental principle. What you focus on expands. When you shift from resistance to acceptance, from complaint to gratitude, you alter the very fabric of your experience. Your thoughts are seeds, your feelings are water, and your attention is the sunlight that makes creation bloom. Practice instruction. Offer silent thanks for something ordinarily bothersome and feel how your spirit becomes weatherproof. Chapter 16. The Door You Forgot to Knock. In the gentle landscape of becoming, you are learning that communication with the universe is an art of precision and grace. Sadie Ruth Daniels had wandered through life like a traveler without a map, her wishes as misty and undefined as morning fog. She would dream vaguely, "I want something better," but never crystallize her longing into a clear, resonant statement. One autumn morning, standing by her kitchen window, Sadie closed her eyes and breathed deeply. Instead of her usual meandering thoughts, she spoke with unexpected clarity. "I desire meaningful work that allows me to help others and express my true gifts." The words emerged not as a plea, but as a quiet declaration. Within days, an unexpected invitation arrived. A local community center needed someone to coordinate wellness programs, a role that perfectly matched her background in counseling and her passion for holistic healing. The opportunity did not feel like chance, but like a response to her precise articulation of desire. Across town, Leon Fred Douglas understood this principle of clarity in a different key. An artist whose paintings had mostly adorned his own walls, he had long whispered uncertain dreams. But one evening, he stood before his canvas and spoke with unwavering conviction. "I will share my art publicly, teaching others to see beauty as I see it." His declaration was not a wish, but an announcement. Weeks later, the city's most renowned art gallery contacted him, requesting not just an exhibition, but a series of workshops where he would guide aspiring artists in discovering their unique visual language. The universe listens not to vague murmurings, but to clear, intentional communications. Your desires must be like a tuning fork, precise, resonant, and unapologetically true. When you speak from your authentic core, the world aligns to amplify your vision. The practice awaiting you is simple, yet profound. Find a quiet moment today. Murmur one precise intention softly, not pleading but announcing. Then listen for subtle echoes in upcoming hours. Chapter 17. The Warm Stone. In the soft light of an autumn afternoon, Betty Pearl Andrews carried the weight of her past like a heavy cloak, each thread woven with threads of regret and unspoken sorrows. Her hands, perpetually clenched, bore the physical manifestation of her inner turmoil. Fingers curled as if protecting herself from memories that whispered of perceived failures and unmet expectations. On this particular day, a stranger approached her, a weathered traveler with eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of forgotten landscapes. Without introduction or explanation, he extended his hand, offering a small stone warm from sunlight. "It remembers sunlight," he said simply, his voice carrying the quiet certainty of ancient truths. The stone felt alive in Betty's palm, smooth, radiant, holding a warmth that seemed to pulse with an intelligence beyond mere mineral. In that moment, something within her softened. The stone was not just a rock, but a messenger. It carried the memory of light, of transformation, of renewal. Her fingers, long accustomed to gripping pain, slowly uncurled. The teaching emerged like dawn breaking. Your identity is not constructed from wounds, but from your inherent worth. Forgiveness is not about erasing the past, but about recognizing the luminous self that has always existed beneath layers of self-judgment. The story echoed with Floyd Carl Stevens, who understood release as an art form. He had learned to place his burdens beside the river, watching them drift away, sensing how peace rises when weight is surrendered. The law of attraction operates on a fundamental principle. What you hold tight, you block. What you release, you invite. Your attraction to life's abundance is directly proportional to your capacity to let go. Guilt is a heavy anchor that keeps your ship stationary, while forgiveness is the wind that allows you to sail. Each time you choose to release a judgment, you create space for new possibilities. The stone in Betty's hand continued to radiate its quiet warmth, a testament to the power of remembering light rather than darkness. It whispered of resilience, of the ability to absorb warmth and continue glowing, regardless of the shadows it might have passed through. Practice at the end of the chapter. Hold a small object and imagine warmth erasing self-accusation until nothing remains but gentle self-trust. Chapter 18. The Page That Wrote Back. In the quiet corners of her modest study, Nettie Lou Richardson sat with a journal whose chapters had long been witnesses to half-whispered hopes and hesitant dreams. Her affirmations had always been mere ink-stained wishes, floating weightlessly across paper, lacking the vibrant energy that transforms thought into reality. But something shifted that morning. As her pen hovered above the pristine page, she understood that words were not just symbols, but conduits of consciousness. Each letter, each carefully constructed sentence carried a frequency, a resonant melody that could ripple through the unseen tapestry of existence. This time, she did not merely write. She felt. "I am abundant," she wrote, and instead of the usual mechanical repetition, she breathed the words into her being. Her chest expanded. Her heart recognized the truth before her mind could doubt. The affirmation was no longer a distant hope, but a living, breathing reality. The universe listens not to your words, but to the emotional current beneath them. Your feelings are the secret language that manifests miracles. Later that week, Chester Wade Carson discovered another dimension of this sacred communication. A writer by passion but uncertain by nature, he began composing letters, not to existing contacts, but to future blessings waiting to unfold. "Dear Opportunity," he would write, "I welcome your arrival with gratitude and open arms." Each letter pulsed with genuine appreciation, as if the blessing had already graced his life. He wrote of successful projects, meaningful connections, unexpected joys, not as wishful thinking, but as remembered experiences. Slowly, synchronicities began to weave themselves into his days. A publishing contact emerged unexpectedly. A workshop invitation arrived without him pursuing it. Connections formed with an ease that felt like remembering rather than creating. The interpretation was clear. Words charged with genuine emotion are prophecies addressed to oneself. They are not requests, but declarations of an already existing truth waiting to be recognized. Practice. Write something as if it has already happened, and sense your cells nodding in agreement. Chapter 19. The Echo on the Hillside. Your journey of understanding echoes begins with Rosa Jane Monroe, a woman who discovered the resonant power of declaration on a windswept hill. She stood alone, her voice cutting through stillness, shouting, "I am lost," and heard the landscape return her own words, a mirror of sound and intention. But when she shifted her proclamation, crying out, "I am found," something miraculous occurred. The echo did not merely repeat, it seemed to transform, carrying a quality of affirmation, almost like a smile woven into sound. This moment illuminates a fundamental truth about the universe's communication. It is not passive, but a responsive field that listens and reflects your inner state. Your declarations are not merely words floating into emptiness, but vibrational seeds that take root in the fabric of existence. Ira Allen Briggs understood this principle intuitively. He began experimenting with intentional language, crafting daily positive declarations that rang with authenticity, not hollow affirmations repeated mechanically, but statements spoken from a place of genuine belief. As he spoke of abundance, of love, of possibility, he noticed a curious phenomenon. The world around him began to shift. Strangers smiled more readily. Opportunities appeared where previously there seemed only barriers. Kindness seemed to follow him like a gentle breeze, mirroring the energy he was broadcasting. His declarations were not wishes, but invocations, calling forth a reality aligned with his deepest truths. The universe responds not to the words themselves, but to the emotional frequency behind them. When you speak, you are not just using language, you are sending out a vibrational signal that resonates through seen and unseen dimensions. Your inner state becomes a broadcast tower, transmitting signals that shape your immediate experience. This is the profound mechanics of manifestation. You are never speaking into a void, but into a responsive, intelligent system that listens and echoes. Your words are not mere sounds, but creative instruments that sculpt reality. Practice. Speak kindly to thin air today, and relish the invisible reply wrapping around you like song. Chapter 20. The Invisible Thread. As you journey through the landscape of creation, you will discover that manifestation is an art more delicate than the finest embroidery, more nuanced than a whispered intention. Your desires are threads waiting to be woven into the tapestry of reality, but the skill lies not in forceful pulling, but in gentle, patient alignment. Consider Velma Ruth Kelly, a woman whose hands knew the language of thread and fabric. Her embroidery revealed a profound truth about the law of attraction. That manifestation requires a rhythm of calm and trust. When she would hurry her stitching, threads would knot and patterns would distort, becoming tangled representations of her inner turbulence. But in moments of stillness, when she allowed her hands to move with unhurried grace, intricate designs would emerge as if guided by an unseen hand. Her experience mirrors your own journey of creation. Just as each stitch requires gentle intention, so too do your dreams demand a soft touch. Rushing produces resistance, patience allows flow. The universe responds not to desperate grasping, but to the quiet confidence of knowing that what is meant for you will arrive in its perfect sequence. Ralph Dean Horton understood this principle intimately. Where others might strain and struggle to force outcomes, he learned to visualize with a light touch, seeing his goals not as distant conquests, but as natural extensions of his current state of being. His visualization was not a demanding act, but a graceful invitation. Opportunities began to align themselves around him, not through aggressive pursuit, but through a harmonious, almost musical unfolding. This is the profound secret of manifestation. Cosmic timing is an art form. It is not about being early or late, but about being in perfect resonance. Your desires are melodies waiting to be played, and the universe is an orchestra ready to accompany your song. When you approach your dreams, imagine yourself as a master weaver or a patient musician. Your touch is light, your breath steady, your belief unwavering. You are not fighting against the fabric of reality, but dancing with it, co-creating each moment with elegant trust. Practice. Visualize a glowing thread connecting you to your goal, and lightly tug it with affection rather than force. Part 3. The Living Secret. Chapter 21. The Door of Breath. Every moment of your existence pulses with an extraordinary potential, a secret rhythm that dances between your internal world and the vast universe surrounding you. Breath is not merely a biological function. It is the sacred bridge connecting your deepest intentions with the fabric of reality. Edna May Lawson discovered this profound truth during a moment of complete overwhelm. Her life had become a turbulent landscape of anxiety, each breath shallow and rapid, her body coiled with tension that threatened to snap her spirit. Stress had become her unwelcome companion, whispering narratives of limitation and fear. But on one transformative afternoon, something shifted. As panic began to rise, threatening to consume her entirely, Edna made a radical choice. Instead of fighting her fear, she chose to breathe into it. Slowly, deliberately, she began to draw air deeply into her lungs, not as a combat against anxiety, but as a gentle invitation to peace. With each intentional breath, something remarkable occurred. Her racing pulse began to slow. The tight muscles in her shoulders started to release. Her mind, previously a storm of fragmented thoughts, began to clear like morning mist, dissolving under warm sunlight. The teaching emerged with crystalline clarity. Breath is the messenger between thought and matter. It is not just air moving in and out, but a powerful conductor of energy, a translator of internal states into external realities. This wisdom resonated deeply with Gordon Lee Matthews, a professional who understood the subtle art of energetic navigation. Before critical meetings, he would pause and engage in intentional breathing, not as a mere relaxation technique, but as a deliberate method of harmonizing his internal state. Colleagues would marvel at how obstacles seemed to melt away during conversations where Gordon was present. Conflicts would transform, solutions would emerge effortlessly, and challenging interactions would resolve with unexpected grace. His secret? He understood that air is a universal currency, a medium through which consciousness communicates and reshapes perception. Your breath carries within it the power to recalibrate your entire experience. It is a bridge between your inner landscape and the outer world, a continuous dialogue between your deepest self and the expansive intelligence of the universe. When you breathe with intention, you are not just moving oxygen. You are sending signals of alignment, of trust, of peaceful expectation. Each inhale becomes an affirmation, each exhale a release of resistance. Practice. Spend moments breathing gratitude in and surrender out until you feel your reality exhale relief back. Chapter 22. The Lighthouse Within You. In the quiet landscape of your inner terrain, you are the most profound guide you will ever encounter. Sophie Dell Harper's journey illuminates a universal truth. Wisdom does not arrive from distant sources, but resonates from the luminous center of your own being. Sophie had wandered through countless workshops, seminars, and spiritual retreats, collecting fragments of advice like scattered puzzle pieces. She listened to gurus, read countless books, and attended conferences, seeking external validation of her path. Yet something always felt incomplete, a persistent whisper suggesting that true guidance originated somewhere deeper. One autumn morning, while sitting in her sunlit study, Sophie realized the mentors she sought were merely reflections of an inner knowing already alive within her. Each external teacher had been pointing toward a wisdom she already possessed. The maps, the instructions, the carefully crafted philosophies, they were signposts directing her back to herself. This revelation was not about dismissing external knowledge, but understanding that authentic guidance harmonizes with your internal frequency. Your intuition is not a passive voice, but an active, intelligent presence, a lighthouse broadcasting clarity through the subtle channels of feeling and insight. Alvin Ross Barton exemplified this principle through his quiet commitment to inner alignment. A designer by profession, he had once chased external approvals, adjusting his creative vision to match others' expectations. But when he began dedicating time to daily meditation, something remarkable unfolded. By listening to the calm resonance within, he discovered a wellspring of creativity that required no external validation. His projects began to reflect a different quality, not driven by fear or competition, but emerging from a place of serene confidence. Clients and colleagues were drawn not just to his work, but to the peaceful certainty that emanated from his approach. He had become a conduit for inspiration rather than a reactor to external pressures. The universal teaching crystallizes. Your inner lighthouse does not battle against life's storms. It simply illuminates. Like a steady beam cutting through fog, your intuition offers guidance not through force, but through quiet, unwavering presence. Your wisdom is not something to be acquired, but remembered. It is not a destination to reach, but a conversation to nurture. Each moment of stillness, each breath of genuine listening, reconnects you to this profound internal compass. Practice. Imagine a steadfast beam in your chest turning outward to calmly steer decisions today. Chapter 23. The Ocean Keeps the Promise. In the quiet harbor of your innermost longing, you will discover that every dream cast out returns with unexpected grace. Your desires are not mere whispers thrown to distant winds, but living currents that flow with mysterious precision. Della Jo Freeman understood this secret before most. On a moonlit evening decades ago, she stood at the ocean's edge, her heart brimming with unspoken aspirations. With trembling hands, she rolled a delicate piece of parchment, sealed it within a weathered glass bottle, and watched as gentle waves carried her message into the vast, unknowable horizon. What she wrote was not a list of demands, but a tender mapping of her heart's true landscape. She described a life of meaningful work, of connection that nourished her spirit, of spaces where her creativity could bloom unbridled. Each word was an invitation, each sentence a vibrational blueprint of possibility. Years passed. Della Jo continued her journey, sometimes remembering that night, sometimes forgetting. But the universe, that grand, intricate weaver of destinies, never forgets. Gradually, almost imperceptibly, the scenes she had once written began materializing around her. The work she had dreamed of found her, a role that blended her passion for teaching with her love of community. The connections she had imagined emerged, friendships that understood her depth, partnerships that respected her essence. The creative spaces she had whispered about took shape, a small studio overlooking a tranquil garden where her art could breathe. Her message in a bottle was not just a momentary gesture, but a profound act of faith. By releasing her vision to the cosmic currents, she had set in motion an intricate dance of manifestation. Nearby, Hiram Dale Nichols observed a similar principle through his own journey. A man of quiet generosity, he discovered that prosperity was not something to be chased, but a natural rhythm to be participated in. When he served others with genuine joy, not as a transaction, but as a pure expression of his spirit, abundance would flow toward him with remarkable synchronicity. His generosity was not calculated, but intuitive. He gave without expectation, understanding that the tide of universal energy always returns to those who trust its fundamental kindness. Each act of service was a seed, each moment of selfless contribution a signal to the universe of his alignment with abundance. The moral was clear. Trust the unseen cycles. Release your intentions with the same faith a sailor trusts the currents, knowing they will carry you precisely where you are meant to arrive. Chapter 24. The Hearth of Compassion. In the tapestry of human connection, you are learning that forgiveness is not a gift to another, but a liberation for yourself. Florence Ann Barrett understood this secret long before her neighbors whispered about her transformation. Where once her heart burned with the fire of old grievances, she now kindled a different flame, one of unexpected compassion. When rivalries and past hurts threatened to darken her inner landscape, Florence discovered a radical alchemy. Instead of plotting revenge or nursing wounds, she began to imagine those who had wronged her sitting warmly by her hearth. In her mind's eye, she saw them not as enemies, but as fellow travelers, cold and weary from their own unseen struggles. This mental image was not weakness, but profound strength. With each visualization of shared warmth, the edges of her old pain softened. The energy of resentment, once tight and brittle, began to flow like water, finding its natural path to release. Her community noticed the shift. Where Florence had been guarded, she now radiated a quiet, unshakable peace. Her rivals found themselves inexplicably drawn to her gentle presence, their own defenses melting without confrontation. Later, Jerome Paul Conrad would walk a similar path. When a longtime debtor failed to repay a significant sum, Jerome chose forgiveness over legal recourse. He released the burden of the debt, understanding that holding on to financial resentment would cost more than the money itself. Remarkably, within weeks of his internal surrender, unexpected income arrived, not from the original debtor, but through channels he could never have anticipated. The universe, it seemed, had been waiting for his heart to open. These stories reveal a universal truth. Compassion neutralizes resistance faster than justice ever could. When you choose to see beyond the surface of conflict, you create space for transformation. The practice is simple yet profound. Envision those who trouble you sitting safely before your fire of goodwill until resentment melts into shared light. Chapter 25. The Word Made Gentle. You have been taught that creation is not a battle to be won, but a conversation to be embraced. Bonnie Lee Armstrong discovered this truth when she realized her relentless pursuit of goals was like trying to capture wind with clenched fists. Her ambitions had been a fortress of tension, each thought a rigid wall blocking the very abundance she sought. One quiet morning, she began to speak to her dreams differently. Instead of demanding, she began to invite. Her goals were no longer commands barked into the universe, but gentle whispers, soft as morning mist, warm as first light. She noticed how her body softened, how her breath became a river instead of a rapid. The transformation was not instantaneous, but subtle. Like seeds quietly taking root, her gentler approach began to reshape her world. Where once she had pushed and planned with exhausting precision, now she allowed. Where control had been her companion, surrender became her guide. Clyde Owen Sawyer walked a similar path. A man once driven by rigid affirmations and strategic manifestations, he discovered that desires spoken like lullabies carried more power than declarations shouted in desperation. His words became caresses rather than commands, transforming his relationship with possibility. The universal principle revealed itself. Gentleness is not weakness, but the most profound strength. Force creates resistance. Tenderness creates flow. When you approach your dreams with compassion for yourself and your journey, miracles do not fight to emerge. They simply arrive as naturally as breath. Your intentions are living energies. They respond not to pressure, but to love. Each gentle thought is a spark of creation, each compassionate wish a bridge between what is and what could be. The heart knows this language intimately, even when the mind forgets. Imagine your desires as delicate flames, requiring nurturing rather than forceful manipulation. Tend them with patience. Speak to them with kindness. Let them breathe and grow in their own rhythm, uncontrolled yet deeply supported. The practice awaits you tonight. Speak every desire in a whisper as if reading poetry to reality. Then let silence finish the verse. Chapter 26. The Gate of Joy. You are standing at the threshold of a profound understanding. Joy is not a luxury, but a precise instrument of creation. Minnie Pearl Hayes discovered this truth not through struggle, but through spontaneous dance. A revelation that transformed her perception of manifestation. In her small cottage kitchen with sunlight streaming across weathered floorboards, Minnie would sometimes pause her daily chores and begin to move. Not a calculated dance, but a sudden, unplanned celebration of being alive. Her movements were not choreographed. They were pure expression, unburdened by expectation or technique. These moments of unexpected jubilation became portals of possibility. When she danced without agenda, arms swirling, feet barely touching the ground, the energy around her shifted. Opportunities began arriving like unexpected guests. A neighbor's recommendation, a chance conversation, a random connection that bloomed into something meaningful. The universe, it seemed, responded to her unbridled joy, not with grand gestures, but with subtle alignments. Her spontaneous delight was a frequency that rewrote the invisible scripts of potential. Each unexpected twirl was an invitation to something greater, a silent communication with the unseen forces that govern creation. Later, Rufina Dale Martin understood this principle through a different lens. Her picnics were not mere social gatherings, but alchemical events where joy became a collaborative magic. She would invite colleagues, strangers, and friends, creating spaces where laughter was the primary currency. These gatherings seemed casual, but they were precision instruments of connection. Business collaborations emerged not through formal networking, but through the shared warmth of unexpected happiness. People who might never have spoken found themselves sharing ideas, dreams, and possibilities, all sparked by the magnetic field of genuine delight. The lesson was clear. Happiness is not passive. It is an active, powerful frequency that realigns potential. When you choose joy without reason, without calculation, you signal to the universe that you are open, receptive, and fundamentally alive. Your joy is not frivolous. It is a serious form of spiritual work, a deliberate tuning of your internal resonance. It says to the cosmic orchestra, I am ready, I am willing, I am open. Practice. Choose delight deliberately today for no reason, sensing the universe giggling back. Chapter 27. The Mountain Listens Last. In the quiet terrain of aspiration you stand, like Hattie Lou Newman, facing a mountain of unspoken dreams. Your journey is not about conquering swiftly, but understanding the rhythm of creation. Each step you take carries the subtle resonance of intention, each breath a whispered promise to the landscape of possibility. Hattie knew something profound about manifestation that most overlook. Results are not commanded, but courted. She had spent years scaling her metaphorical mountain with desperate urgency, pushing against the silent stones of resistance. Her initial attempts were marked by forceful declarations and impatient demands, echoing hollowly against indifferent cliff faces. But something shifted when she changed her approach. Instead of shouting with frustration, she began calling out with compassion, first to herself, then to the unseen energies surrounding her journey. Her voice transformed from a weapon of will to an instrument of gentle invitation. The mountain, which had seemed immovable, began to listen. Her final compassionate shout was different. It emerged not from a place of need, but from a deep well of understanding. She recognized that her desires were not separate from her, but an extension of her own unfolding story. In that moment of pure acceptance, the echoes began to return, soft at first, then with increasing clarity. The principle revealed itself. Persistence seasoned with patience creates manifestations robust enough to withstand any challenge. Your dreams are not fragile constructs, but living energies that require nurturing, not forcing. Emmett Roy Fletcher embodied this wisdom in his own journey. For years he tended to his project with quiet dedication, neither desperate nor doubtful. Where others might have grown discouraged by apparent lack of progress, Emmett maintained a steady, faithful commitment. His work was not a sprint, but a gentle, continuous unfoldment. And then, as if the universe had been carefully weaving his vision in secret, success arrived, sudden yet completely organic. His overnight triumph was the visible manifestation of years of unseen cultivation. The divine delay was not a punishment, but a precise timing mechanism far more intelligent than human impatience. Your mountain awaits, not as a challenge to be conquered, but as a landscape of potential ready to resonate with your most authentic vibration. Persistence is not about harder effort, but about maintaining faith when external signs seem dormant. Trust that your echoes are forming, even now, in distances you cannot yet perceive. Chapter 28. The Circle of Trust. In the gentle landscape of your inner terrain, trust moves like water finding its most natural path. Lula, Faye Morton once believed prosperity was a straight line, something earned through struggle and lost through one misstep. Her hands were tight fists, holding onto every penny as if letting go meant certain defeat. But life whispered differently. One autumn morning, as golden leaves traced circular patterns on her windowsill, she understood. Abundance is not a linear journey, but a circular dance. What you trust, you invite. What you release, returns. Her grandmother's old saying echoed, "What goes around, comes around." But now it carried deeper resonance. Lula began experimenting. She offered small kindnesses without calculating return, a warm meal for a neighbor, extra time listening to a stranger's story, unexpected generosity that asked nothing in return. Each gesture felt like dropping a pebble into a still pond, watching ripples expand beyond her vision. Later that season, Edwin Mark Baldwin embodied this very principle. A local carpenter known for his quiet integrity, he understood that kindness was not transactional, but transformational. When he repaired a young family's broken fence without charging, he didn't track the favor. He simply knew that goodwill creates its own momentum. Weeks passed, and opportunities began appearing, not as direct exchanges, but as unexpected grace. A client recommended his work unprompted. A distant relative offered resources for a long-dreamed project. The universe, it seemed, was taking notes of his open-hearted approach. The teaching crystallized. Prosperity is circular, like breath moving in and out, like seasons turning, like water finding its way through stone. Trust maintains its own elegant circulation. Your inner abundance is not something to grip, but to flow through you, creating wider and wider rings of possibility. Lula realized her previous fear had been a dam blocking natural movement. By trusting, truly trusting, she became part of a greater rhythm. Kindness was not weakness, but a powerful current of energy, completing itself in ways logic could never predict. Imagine your heart tracing a golden circle around today, keeping blessings circulating with no beginning or end. Chapter 29. The Sky Inside. In the vast landscape of your inner world, boundaries are but illusions painted by momentary perception. You have carried constraints like invisible weights, believing them more substantial than the boundless spirit that dwells within you. Georgia Ann Preston understood this truth in a moment of quiet revelation. She had spent years feeling confined by circumstance, her dreams pressed against invisible walls of limitation. But on one ordinary afternoon, while gazing out her kitchen window, something shifted. The sky, expansive, unbound, and eternally free, seemed to whisper directly into her heart. Her confinement was not external, but a landscape of her own making. The moment she recognized the spaciousness within herself, her perspective transformed. Her chest felt lighter, as if centuries of compressed expectations suddenly dissolved. Virgie Todd Fleming embodied this principle of inner liberation with remarkable grace. Where others saw obstacles, she cultivated an open awareness that dissolved boundaries. Her travels were not merely physical journeys across geographical lines, but explorations of consciousness itself. She carried a sense of calm that transcended location. Her inner sky traveled with her, vast and unconfined. The universe does not reside in distant celestial realms, but breathes within the intimate architecture of your being. Every breath you take is an invitation to expansiveness, every moment a chance to dissolve the illusions of constraint. Your freedom is not something to be acquired, but recognized. It is not a destination, but a remembering. Like Georgia and Virgie, you can choose to see beyond the walls you've constructed, to feel the boundless potential that has always resided within you. The practice awaits you. Lie back and breathe skyward until you sense blue expanding behind your ribs, endless and kind. Chapter 30. The Secret. Knowing reveals itself. In the soft light of understanding, you realize that your journey through the landscapes of attraction is not about acquiring, but about becoming. Claudette Rose Simmons discovered this profound truth when she finally surrendered the relentless pursuit of manifestation and instead allowed her inner landscape to simply be. Her story whispers an essential wisdom. The universe does not respond to desperate grasping, but to the quiet confidence of a heart that knows its own rhythm. When Claudette stopped frantically searching for signs and proofs, she felt a deeper certainty humming within her. A resonance that understood the law of attraction was not an external mechanism, but her own heartbeat shaping the world's intricate melody. In that moment of stillness, she recognized that chasing desires creates distance, while knowing invites them closer. Your transformation happens not through effort, but through a gentle, unshakable trust that radiates from your core. The moment you cease straining, you create space for synchronicity to dance into your experience. Vernon Lee Pratt walked a similar path. He understood that labeling miracles, dissecting them with analysis, or broadcasting them with excitement made their delicate magic retreat. Instead, he lived them quietly, allowing each unexpected grace to flow through his life like a secret current, unannounced yet profoundly transformative. The teaching crystallizes in this understanding. True manifestation is not a performance, but a reverent unfolding. Like dawn gently claiming the sky without announcement, your inner shifts will reshape your reality with a soft, inevitable power. Protect your transformation as carefully as dawn protects emerging light. Nurture it in silence. Let it grow undisturbed. Your awareness is not a tool to be wielded, but a living, breathing essence that knows exactly how to guide you. Trust emerges not from external validation, but from the deep, unshakable knowing that resides in the spacious quiet of your being. Close this story. Breathe once, and feel awareness folding back into your being. No need to tell anyone. Knowing speaks through your presence. Part 4. The Continuation Beyond Belief. Chapter 31. The Invisible Garden Gate. Your journey through understanding barriers begins with Leona May Douglas, whose daily walk past a seemingly impenetrable fence revealed a profound truth about limitation. Each step she took had been a silent acceptance of confinement, her thoughts constructing walls more rigid than any physical barrier. The morning everything changed was unremarkable at first. Soft sunlight filtering through ivy, a gentle breeze whispering against weathered wooden planks. But something within Leona shifted. Her perception, once trapped in the narrative of restriction, suddenly saw beyond the obvious. The ivy, which she had always viewed as part of her constraint, now appeared differently, a living curtain waiting to be parted. When her fingers brushed aside the green tendrils, a gate emerged, hidden, yet always present. Its existence had not been a recent development, but a constant possibility she had never before recognized. Her breath caught, not in surprise, but in a moment of profound gratitude. The barrier had never been real. It had been a projection of her own limited thinking. This revelation carries a universal teaching. Assumptions form more solid boundaries than any physical structure. The universe does not construct walls. It merely reflects the thoughts you continuously broadcast. Your perception creates the landscape of your experience, and what appears immovable can dissolve the moment you shift your inner vision. Dwight Earl Randall's story echoes this principle. A man long confined by perceived career limitations, he discovered that his professional boundaries were nothing more than self-drawn curtains. The moment he dared to see himself as already free, not hoping to be free, but existing in that state of liberation, opportunities began to flow. These opportunities were not new. They had always existed. They simply waited for his consciousness to match their frequency. Like guests politely waiting to be invited, they strolled through the moment he removed the mental barriers that had previously kept them at bay. The interpretation is profound yet simple. Recognition is liberation. Permission, true, deep inner permission, becomes the gateway. When you genuinely believe in your own expansiveness, the world cannot help but rearrange itself to match that belief. Practice as instructed. Imagine brushing aside green vines of doubt to reveal a radiant opening and walk inward, smiling as possibility waves hello. Chapter 32. The Spark Beneath the Ashes. In the quiet corners of memory, passion often hibernates, not extinguished, but merely waiting. You might believe your dreams have faded, their embers cooling beneath layers of doubt and time's gentle dismissal. But within you, every aspiration carries an eternal spark, a quiet, resilient essence that remembers its original brilliance. Maybelle Rose Gentry knew this truth intimately. Her creative spirit had once burned with the intensity of 1,000 suns, painting worlds onto canvas and weaving stories that seemed to breathe. Yet somewhere along her journey, she had allowed external voices and personal uncertainties to dim her inner light. Her paintbrushes gathered dust, her notebooks closed like forgotten shrines to abandoned dreams. One autumn afternoon, while sorting through old memories, Maybelle's trembling fingers brushed against a weathered notebook. As she opened it, something extraordinary happened. The chapters seemed to shimmer with an unexpected luminescence, revealing a sketch, a half-formed idea that had been waiting, patient and alive, for her rediscovery. The sketch was more than lines and shadows. It was a memory of her most profound creative vision, a concept so pure and vibrant that it seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat. In that moment, Maybelle understood a universal truth. Desire never truly dies. It simply waits beneath the cooled landscapes of belief, anticipating the moment when courage would breathe life into it once more. Nearby, Ernest Lloyd Porter experienced a similar resurrection. A musician who had long abandoned his craft, he discovered an old melody tucked within a forgotten sheet music collection. As his fingers traced the notes, something remarkable occurred. The melody, dormant for years, began to reconstruct itself, first as a whisper, then as a full, resonant song that seemed to remember its own magic. The universe, you see, is a meticulous archivist. It stores every dream you've ever cherished, every passion you've momentarily set aside. These are not lost. They are merely resting, waiting for the precise instant when your trust can fan them back into brilliant existence. Both Maybelle and Ernest discovered that creativity is not a finite resource that depletes, but an infinite wellspring that simply requires acknowledgement. Their stories intertwine with a profound revelation. Your deepest aspirations are never truly gone. They are patient travelers, waiting for you to recognize them again. Picture a small fire crackling inside your chest and breathe gently until the flame remembers its rhythm as yours. Chapter 33. The Table of Kindred Souls. In the quiet corners of her modest home, Viola Jean Horton understood a truth more profound than loneliness. Emptiness is not absence, but invitation. Her kitchen, with its worn wooden table and soft afternoon light, became a canvas of possibility. One evening, as sunset painted amber streams across her linoleum floor, she deliberately pulled out an extra chair. This was no mere furniture arrangement, but a declaration to the universe. She set the place with care, a gleaming plate, a polished fork, a napkin folded with gentle precision. Then, speaking softly but with absolute conviction, she began blessing the unseen guests who might one day fill this space. "Welcome," she whispered. "This place is prepared with joy and anticipation." Her words were not desperate pleas, but quiet affirmations. Each syllable carried the frequency of connection, of belonging. The empty chair was not a symbol of absence, but of expectation, a physical manifestation of her inner knowing that companionship would find its way to her. Weeks passed, and Viola continued her ritual. The chair remained set, a silent invitation to friendship. Her heart remained open, her spirit calm. She did not anxiously wait or chase potential connections, but trusted in the subtle mechanics of attraction. Then, almost imperceptibly, invitations began to emerge. A neighbor's casual conversation lingered longer. A community group requested her participation. Old acquaintances reached out with unexpected warmth. The universe, hearing her quiet confidence, began weaving connections around her. Roland West Pierce understood this principle from a different perspective. As a community organizer, he learned that intention creates momentum. He would arrange meeting spaces, draft agendas, and speak of collaborations that existed only in his imagination. His unwavering belief acted like a magnetic field, drawing potential partners toward him. Where others might have seen empty rooms and theoretical connections, Roland saw potential networks waiting to be activated. He spoke of projects with such genuine enthusiasm that colleagues found themselves naturally aligning with his vision. His trust was not a strategy, but a living frequency that attracted like-minded spirits. Both Viola and Roland demonstrated a fundamental truth. Preparation is a form of invitation. By creating space, physical or metaphorical, with genuine warmth and expectation, they transformed passive waiting into active manifestation. Practice. Set aside symbolic space today, a chair, a note, or a minute, and greet it with warmth that anticipates connection. Chapter 34. The Road That Curves Kindly. In the landscape of your journey, there are moments when the map you've drawn seems to dissolve, and the path ahead becomes uncertain. Adeline Lou Bird knew this uncertainty intimately, her carefully plotted life feeling like a series of misaligned stones, each step weighted with doubt. One autumn morning, when the trees whispered secrets in amber and rust, Adeline's planned route suddenly disappeared. A landslide had consumed the familiar road. Frustration bubbled within her, a momentary storm of resistance. But something gentle stirred beneath her initial reaction, a quiet wisdom urging her to trust the unexpected. The detour wound through terrain she had never witnessed, rolling hills draped in golden light, ancient trees standing like silent guardians, valleys that seemed to breathe with an ancient rhythm. Each turn revealed landscapes more stunning than her original route could have offered. Her heart, once tense with control, began to soften. This unplanned journey taught her something profound. Deviation is not disruption, but a sacred form of guidance. The universe does not punish with unexpected turns. It redirects with compassion, offering glimpses of beauty that meticulously planned routes might forever hide. Later she encountered Clyde Rufus Bell, a man whose life story echoed her own transformative experience. Clyde had once been a rigid planner, mapping every professional step with mathematical precision. But one day he allowed intuition to whisper louder than his carefully constructed strategy. Following a subtle inner nudge, Clyde wandered into a small workshop he'd never noticed before. There, surrounded by tools and half-finished creations, he discovered a craft that made his soul sing, a calling so authentic it felt like remembering rather than discovering. His life's purpose had been waiting in that unexpected detour, disguised as a simple chance encounter. The teaching was clear: trust the curvature of your path. Straight lines might seem efficient, but they rarely lead to wonder. Magnificence often resides in the spaces between planned destinations, in the moments when you surrender control and allow mystery to guide you. Your journey is not a linear progression, but a living, breathing dance. Each unexpected turn is an invitation, a gentle tap on the shoulder from the universe, suggesting there might be something more beautiful just beyond your current vision. Practice. When unforeseen shifts appear, whisper, turns are teachers, and feel relaxation replace resistance like sunlight rounding a corner. Chapter 35. The Whisper Between Heartbeats. In the gentle landscape of inner listening, you are a receiver of whispers far subtler than language. Your intuition is not a loud proclamation, but a delicate breath moving between heartbeats, a silent communication more profound than words could ever articulate. Ella Joy Harmon discovered this truth one tranquil evening after her meditation practice. As her mind settled like water becoming perfectly still, she noticed something extraordinary. A soft awareness breathing between her pulse, speaking in the spaces of silence. These messages were not thunderous declarations or dramatic revelations, but quiet knowings that emerged when she ceased her internal chatter. The universe communicates through rhythm, and stillness becomes the most eloquent translator of love's fluent language. When you learn to listen in the pauses, in the moments between thoughts, guidance arrives not as a command, but as a gentle invitation. Marcus Allen Boyd understood this principle through an unexpected experience. One morning, a subtle inner nudge suggested he delay his planned journey. There was no dramatic vision, no thunderbolt of warning, just a quiet feeling, a whispered suggestion that seemed to float just beneath conscious thought. Later, he learned that the route he would have traveled experienced an unexpected landslide, rendering it dangerous and impassable. This is how intuition speaks, not in dramatic sirens or flashing lights, but in soft touches of awareness. It guides you not through force, but through gentle redirection, through a feeling that feels more like a caress than a push. Your inner wisdom knows pathways unseen by logical mind. It travels through feeling, through that inexplicable sense that something feels right or doesn't align. When you trust these subtle communications, you begin to dance with the universe's most intimate language. The key is not to strain or struggle to hear, but to become quiet enough to listen. Like a delicate instrument, your intuition requires a calm, receptive environment to transmit its messages clearly. Practice becomes your bridge to deeper understanding. In moments of stillness, you are not empty, but full of potential, full of listening, full of the universe's quiet wisdom. Sit in silence until your heartbeat seems to hum your name, and accept that guidance never leaves. It only waits for quiet comprehension. Chapter 36. The Window of Night. In the soft twilight of uncertainty, you stand where shadows dance between knowing and becoming. Like Eudora Nell Simmons, you might have mistaken darkness for emptiness, when in truth it is the sacred womb of potential. Darkness is not an enemy, but a gentle keeper of unborn light. Just as seeds germinate beneath soil's quiet embrace, your deepest dreams incubate in moments of apparent stillness. When you cannot see progress, trust that transformation whispers beneath perception's threshold. Eudora once trembled at nightfall, interpreting shadows as threats. But gradually, she recognized that darkness cradles stars, nurturing their luminescence before their grand emergence. Each moment of apparent pause is not a void, but a sacred interval where miracles gather silent momentum. Consider Lawrence Dean Coker, who initially saw his professional hiatus as failure. Yet in that seemingly barren period, something profound was germinating. What appeared as stagnation was actually a profound restructuring, like a forest rebuilding after winter, preparing for unprecedented spring. Your life's most significant movements often occur in these unseen realms. The universe does not announce its miracles with fanfare, but weaves them quietly in the background. Brilliance requires darkness to distinguish itself, just as a star's radiance becomes visible only when surrounding light recedes. When challenges seem to halt your forward motion, remember, this is not an ending, but a sacred pause. Gestation demands stillness. Seeds do not announce their growth, they simply become. Your dreams are no different, quietly assembling themselves in rhythm with cosmic intelligence. Trust these intervals of apparent silence. They are not punishment, but preparation. They are not obstacles, but orchestrations of something far more magnificent than your current perception can comprehend. Just as night is essential for stars to shine, your moments of uncertainty are essential for your transformation. Embrace them not with resistance, but with gentle curiosity. Practice at the end of chapter. Gaze at evening sky or its memory and feel gratitude for what is forming invisibly while you dream. Chapter 37. The Completion Circle. In the soft light of understanding, you discover that every achievement is not a destination, but a gateway. Matilda Ray Benson understood this profound truth after decades of relentless pursuit. She had climbed corporate ladders, acquired accolades, and collected success like precious stones, yet something always felt incomplete. The day she paused to truly see her journey was like witnessing a landscape transform. Each challenge became a brushstroke, each setback a subtle shading that gave depth to her masterpiece of life. Her goals were no longer just external markers, but reflections of an inner evolution. Matilda realized that gratitude was the alchemy that transmuted achievement into meaning. By thanking her path, not just its triumphs, but its struggles, she unlocked a deeper resonance. The wounds that once felt like failures now appeared as necessary teachings, the detours as sacred redirections. Her story echoed a universal truth. Fulfillment is not about collecting experiences, but about recognizing the wisdom woven through them. Each moment carried a subtle intelligence, a whispered lesson waiting to be heard. Later, Nigel Ross Green embodied this principle through his art. He did not create to impress or compete, but simply to radiate joy. His paintings emerged not from ambition, but from a wellspring of pure contentment. And in that effortless sharing, something miraculous occurred. Abundance began to flow, not as a result, but as a natural extension of his inner state. Closure, you understand, is not an ending. It is a harmonized continuation, a breathing space where one chapter gently transitions into another. Like a musical phrase that resolves yet invites the next melody, your life's journey maintains its rhythm of constant becoming. The universe listens to the tone of your appreciation. When you recognize each phase of your path with reverence, you signal to the cosmic orchestra that you are ready for the next movement. Practice. Whisper appreciation to every earlier version of yourself, seeing them join hands in a glowing circle that promises ongoing evolution. Feel each iteration, the uncertain child, the searching adolescent, the ambitious young adult, the maturing professional, connecting in a luminous chain of compassion. Let gratitude flow between these versions, acknowledging their courage, their vulnerability, their persistent hope. See them smiling, supporting each other, forming an unbroken ring of self-love that transcends linear time. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. You have walked through remembrance, alignment, and sacred silence, discovering that creation is not conquest, but communion. The law of attraction is not a bargaining tool for the impatient, but a melody of resonance, sung through every thought offered with trust. The secret. Knowing whispers that the universe was never outside awaiting instructions. It listens from within your feeling tone. This awareness is self-sustaining. Once felt, it continues quietly refining your world even when you are distracted by ordinary errands. Keep your results close, not for secrecy's vanity, but for protection of vibration. Reverence maintains momentum. The miracles that ripple from your new state will recognize each other and breed continuity of grace. The only thing required from here onward is gentle consistency, gratitude as reflex, faith as breath, joy as navigation. Let others see transformation through your calm rather than your claims. You are now the book's living conclusion, the secret teaching wrapped in skin and smile, the evidence that thought clothed in love turns invisible force into visible beauty.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.